Hi, Rupert.
Hi.
After yesterday's conversation, I felt I wanted to come back and check if my understanding is actually correct. I always had this feeling that I really understand everything really quite well. But after yesterday, I thought, well, maybe there are a couple of things I need to kind of revisit and check. So, the inward-facing path. If I trace myself totally back, lose everything that is not essential, the complete laying bare. Being myself only and abiding there. From that place, going out, I always thought, as in actively going out and looking. But after our conversation yesterday, I feel it's more staying in abidance and more like an opening up and zooming out, relaxing back, letting in.
Yeah, so
it feels a lot softer rather than what I always presume to do is more active, more doing.
Yes, in the inward facing path, as you say, we turn away from the objective content of experience. We just go back to ourselves. And then in the outward facing, or the object facing path, we turn around, so to speak, and we face again the objects of experience, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions. It's barely active.
Yeah.
It can just be a contemplating of the objective content of our experience in relation to our new understanding of ourself as this open, empty presence of awareness. It's not really a doing. It's more a contemplating.
Yeah, it's staying in abidance and contemplating what actually comes to me.
Yes, you let the objective content of your experience, thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, and perceptions, you let them come to you.
Let them come in.
Whereas previously we turned away from them in order to recognize what we are prior to them.
Yeah. Okay, so far so good, I think.
But then an extension of that process would be when we end our meditation session and we go out into a meal or a meeting or a walk or you go back to the office or whatever. That would be an extension of the outward facing path, because it would involve living one's entire life in a way that was consistent with this new understanding. So the actual contemplation that we do in the yoga meditations would just be the first step of turning towards our objective experience. Mm-hmm. And then the next step is actually out in the world, living out in the world. Mm-hmm. And that is obviously more active than just contemplating the objective content of our experience.
Can it still have that softer quality?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Because I've been kind of trying to see with the new understanding I felt I got yesterday, how that would feel to just walk around and be. And
in theory, there's no reason why it should feel any different from sitting on your chair, contemplating your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions, because actually at any moment of the day, all you are doing is being aware of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that you're going for a walk by the river with friends. Are you doing anything other than being aware of thoughts, images, feelings? Or if you're stuck in a traffic jam or at a business meeting or with your family or taking a flight, are you ever doing anything apart from knowing your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions? No.
No, but I think now I'm doing it knowingly.
Yeah, yes, but what I mean is that there's no real difference between sitting on your chair quietly
Yeah.
in a so-called meditation session, contemplating your thoughts. Let's just call it thoughts and perceptions for ease of communication.
Yeah.
Contemplating your, let's say, thoughts, sensations, and perceptions. What's the difference between doing that sitting on a chair and doing it while you're walking down the high street or cooking a meal? It's the same. All it is a flow of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions. So really, there's no difference.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Ideally, you want to feel the same when you're sitting in your chair during a yoga meditation as you are when you're
walking around, living your life.
Living your life. And really, the idea would be to find absolutely no distinction between everyday life and meditation.
Yeah.
You may still choose to sit down from time to time.
You can do both.
Quietly and close your eyes, but not in order to get away from everyday life. Because what you're experiencing with your eyes closed, sitting quietly on your chair, is exactly the same as what you're experiencing when you're in the supermarket checkout queue. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, what I felt at home when I was doing kind of just quiet meditations is that I actually preferred to have sounds around. Because I really like the meditation that you gave once with going from a sensation to a sound and feeling that they all actually take place within the same space.
Yes, yes.
So for me, having lots of things going on around me while sitting quietly actually helps rather than hinders.
Yes.
So an extension of that would be just living your life fully.
Yes, really, everyday life should be considered an advanced yoga meditation.
Oh. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay.
In other words, all of life, it's either meditation with your eyes closed, let's call that the inward facing part, or it's meditation with your eyes open. That's everyday life. Those are the only two options.
As in, meditation is not what we do, but what we are.
Just contemplating your experience, being knowingly the presence of awareness, and recognizing that you are not only that, as the presence of awareness, you are not only that to which all experience appears, you are that in which all experience arises, and you're not only that in which all experience arises, you are also that out of which all experience is made. Sometimes you know that with your eyes closed, sometimes you know that with your eyes open, but in time, there should be a feeling of complete sameness.
Yeah.
Sitting, I don't mean the content of your experience is the same, but the quality is the same. Whether you're sitting quietly meditating alone at home with your eyes closed, or whether you're walking down the high street shopping or going for having a meal with friends or whatever, there's this. They call it in Zen the one taste, and the taste is the taste of knowing, because all there is to experience is the knowing of it. It doesn't really matter whether what the content of the experience is, because even when the experience is full of content, there is still only the knowing of experience.
And still just the one thing.
The one thing, which is not a thing, pure knowing or consciousness, manifesting itself as 10,000 things.
Yeah.
So then the distinction between everyday life and meditation, there's no longer any distinction.
Yeah.
It's only valid to make the distinction in the early stages of our investigation when we lose ourselves to the content of experience, and then we have to separate ourselves from experience, come back to ourself, the presence of awareness, and then we make this distinction between our self-awareness and experience. But at some stage, that distinction needs to be collapsed until there is just one thing, always the same thing. Its essence never changes. Its appearance always changes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.